If you're looking to get your first pair of hearing aids, it is a really good thing that you landed on this video first. Hey guys, Cliff Olson, Doctor of Audiology and founder of Applied Hearing Solutions in Phoenix, Arizona, and in this video, I'm covering the 3 things that you must know before buying your first set of hearing aids. Okay, so buying hearing aids is not difficult. I mean, out here in Phoenix, Arizona, you can pretty much go to any street corner and find a hearing aid clinic that will sell you some new devices. But just buying hearing aids and buying hearing aids that are right for you from a hearing care professional who can set them up properly are 2 completely different things. After all, hearing aids are not one-size-fits-all pieces of technology like laptop computers and smartphones. There are several variables that are unique to you that can make or break your success with hearing aids, which is exactly why I'm going to be covering these 3 big things that you need to understand before you buy your first set of hearing aids. But before I share what these things are, do me a huge favor and click the like button. It really helps out the channel because it gets these videos in front of a broader audience. And while you're at it, make sure that you hit that subscribe button with notification bell so you receive a notification every single time I publish a new video. And a huge shout out to Widex for sponsoring today's video. Danish hearing aid manufacturer Widex is known for pushing the boundaries of innovation in premium hearing aid technology. Widex is one of the first manufacturers to release a fully digital hearing aid back in the mid-1990s, and they've continued to push the envelope with what is possible when it comes to hearing aids. One standout feature is their pure sound with zero delay technology, which processes sound in under 0.5 milliseconds, which is up to 20 times faster than other digital hearing aids. The result is a more natural listening experience with less distortion and better speech perception. Widex also pioneered machine learning in hearing aids with their AI sound assistant, allowing wearers to fine-tune the sound of their own hearing aids in real time by training their hearing aids in actual listening environments. Their latest W1 chip is 4 times faster with 4 times the memory, enabling Speech Enhancer Pro, a feature that intelligently separates speech from background noise before processing, dramatically improving your hearing in challenging settings. And all of these features are packed inside of the new Widex Allure hearing aids, which are Widex's most advanced and best sounding hearing aids to date. So if you're looking for some of the most advanced hearing aid technology on the market, the Widex Allure should definitely be on your list of hearing aids to ask your hearing care professional about. Okay, let's jump into the first thing that you should know before getting your first pair of hearing aids, which is a deep understanding of your hearing loss. When you have a hearing evaluation, your hearing care professional should be measuring 5 different things. These 5 things include your pure tone air conduction and bone conduction thresholds, your speech reception thresholds or SRTs, your word recognition scores or WRS, your speech and noise score, and your uncomfortable listening levels or UCLs. Each one of these individual tests tells you something different about your hearing. Let me give you a basic understanding of all 5. Pure tone air conduction thresholds tell us how loud sound needs to be at each frequency range of your hearing loss before you can detect that sound. The further down these X's and O's go on the graph, the worse your hearing is, and it's like a piano keyboard. On the left-hand side is the lower pitches going through the mid and into the higher pitches on the right-hand side. You can also tell exactly which speech sounds you are missing that are no longer able to make it from your ears up to your brain due to your hearing loss. Pure tone bone conduction thresholds indicate where the hearing loss is actually located inside of the 3 parts of your ear. If there's a gap between the air conduction thresholds and the bone conduction thresholds, it can indicate an issue with the conductive pathway of sound through the outer ear or the middle ear on the way to the inner ear. To correct for this, it may require surgery, medical intervention, or a bone conduction hearing aid. If there is no gap between the air conduction thresholds and the bone conduction thresholds, the issue is either within your cochlea, which is your hearing organ, or along the auditory nerve up to your brain, and will require either hearing aids or a cochlear implant to treat. Your SRT scores are the softest level of speech that you can barely understand. If these numbers are elevated above 25 decibels, it likely indicates that you're struggling with soft talkers and that you need more compression inside of your hearing aids to add more amplification to soft level speech. Your word recognition scores indicate how clear speech would be for you after we replace the missing speech information identified during your pure tone air conduction testing with the use of hearing aids. If these word recognition score percentages are really low, you stand to get less benefit from the use of hearing aids, and if they're really high, you stand to get more benefit from the use of hearing aids. Next is speech and noise testing, which measures the amount of separation that you need of speech over the background noise before you can understand what someone is saying in a noisy environment. The higher this score is in decibels, the more separation of speech you need from background noise before you can understand someone, and the lower the score is, the less separation that you need. This speech and noise score is extremely important when identifying the best hearing aids for you and whether or not you may need to consider a wireless accessory to help you out even more. Finally, your uncomfortable listening levels, or UCLs, need to be measured to identify how loud sound can be before it becomes uncomfortable to you. This helps us identify the dynamic range of your hearing, which is the range between your air conduction thresholds, which is the softest level of sound that you can hear, and your UCLs, which is the loudest level of sound that you can tolerate. When using hearing aids to amplify sound for you, we have to make sure that we stay within this dynamic range, so sounds are loud enough for you to hear, but not too loud that they become uncomfortable. The second thing that you need to understand about hearing aids before you buy your first pair is the different technology levels of hearing aids. Not only do you want to identify the best hearing aids for you based on your hearing test results, but you also want to select the most appropriate level of technology to maximize your hearing performance. Okay, so each hearing aid manufacturer has multiple tiers of technology, going from tier 1 down to tier 3 and sometimes all the way down to tier 5. Tier 1 would be the most advanced hearing aid technology, and tier 5 would be the most basic hearing aid technology. Each time you drop down in technology level, it takes features and customizations away from your hearing care professional when they're trying to optimize the performance of those hearing aids for you. Of course, each time you drop down in tech level, it also reduces the price of those hearing aids. Now, sometimes these features that you remove when you drop down in technology level are critical to your performance, and sometimes they don't matter very much at all. But it's really hard to predict which technology level would actually be best for you. So my recommendation is pretty much the same for everyone, which is you should be going with the highest level of technology that you can reasonably afford. And if you cannot afford it, you should be dropping down to whatever technology level you can afford. And it is the job of your hearing care professional to maximize the performance of those devices for you. This way you prevent the possibility of leaving benefit on the table, not just now, but years into the future as your hearing loss potentially gets worse. But even more important, and significantly more important than the technology level you use, is the third thing that you need to know before getting your first pair of hearing aids, which is whether or not your hearing care professional follows comprehensive audiologic best practices. Best practices are a series of considerations and procedures that must be followed by your hearing care professional to ensure that you're able to receive the maximum amount of benefit from your hearing aids. Without them, even the best hearing aids in the entire world will not perform their best. Now, there are a lot of best practices, but some of the most important ones are test box measures, real ear measurement, and validation outcome measures. Test box measures are used to ensure that your hearing aids are meeting manufacturer specifications. This includes the amount of output, gain, distortion, and noise levels that your hearing aids generate. Essentially, it identifies if your hearing aids are mechanically functioning the right way. And if they're not, your hearing care professional can exchange them for hearing aids that are functioning properly. But without performing test box measures, you would never know if the way your hearing aids are sounding are the way that they're supposed to sound, or if they're not sounding as good as they should because they're malfunctioning. Now, real ear measurement, on the other hand, is a verification tool that we can use to ensure that your hearing aids are programmed properly to your hearing loss prescription. Everybody's ear canals are completely different, which means that you could have two people with identical hearing losses that need different levels of amplification just based off of the way that their ear canals are shaped. Without verifying the amplification levels of your hearing aids using real ear measurement, it is impossible to know whether or not you need more or less amplification across the entire range of your hearing loss. To perform real ear measurement, it requires that we place probe microphone tubes inside of your ear canals along with your hearing aids and present you with a calibrated sound so we can measure the amount of amplification your hearing aids are giving you. Then we can go into the hearing aid manufacturer programming software and start adjusting the amplification levels of the devices to better match your prescriptive targets. If your hearing aids are programmed to match your prescriptive targets, you're going to hear substantially better with your hearing aids, and if they're not hitting your prescriptive targets, you're going to hear substantially worse. Then you have your validation outcome measures once you're done with your hearing aid programming. These are typically in the form of validated questionnaires to identify how much benefit you're subjectively perceiving with your hearing aids. Having a detailed and granular understanding of how well you're hearing with your hearing aids in different situations is a lot better than just asking you, how do you think you're hearing? If your new hearing aids have been selected, fit, and programmed properly, then your validation outcome assessment would indicate that. However, if any mistakes were made throughout your treatment process, your validation outcome assessment would also pick up on that. And if that is the case, your hearing care professional can specifically address the areas that you're still struggling in. This way you can be confident that the hearing aids that you purchased are actually doing what you wanted them to do. If you do not understand any one of these three things, including your hearing loss, your hearing aid technology level, and whether or not your hearing care professional follows comprehensive audiologic best practices, chances are you could be leaving a significant amount of hearing benefit on the table. However, if you do have a good understanding of these three things, then getting your first pair of hearing aids is likely going to help you hear your absolute best.